But like agencies to survive, they need to go out and get work. So if you as a freelancer, you're not that good at getting work, but you're very good at your skill, you can position yourself with agencies or people that are just good at.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pulse of Tech podcast, also known as Teapot, where we have insightful conversations about products, brands, and teams. And as usual, this is Lady Adeniyi. I'm your host, and I'm super excited to have you guys here today, listening to us as we talk about the challenges in the tech industry. Joining us today is the incredible Daniel Abudu, and we're chatting about the freelance mindset. Daniel, who is also known as Unorthodox Dan, is an amazing web designer and webflow developer. In this episode, we're going to explore the pivotal moments that shaped Daniel's freelance journey, strategies to overcome self doubt and embrace resilience, the importance of building a personal brand and maintaining a strong clientele. And that's pretty much it. So let's jump right in. Why are you smiling?
I'm just like, this guy is making me to look like a serious person. And I'm just like, even myself, it sounds like I want to listen to this person that you described.
Yes, exactly. That's why you're here. You are very inspiring to everybody.
Okay.
You're inspiring to everybody, so you should be here. People should hear you speak. And that's why you're here. I want to hear you speak as well because I need all these tips as well. So, yeah, welcome to Teapot, Mr. Daniel.
Try my best. Happy to be here.
All right. All right. Let's jump right into it. So, Mr. Daniel, can you share your journey with us? How you started out, um, how you were able to learn all these amazing skills that you have, and what led you to start freelancing, essentially.
Okay. Sorry, I start out. So I've been one of those people who was always going to do tech and creative stuff, even if it wasn't like this trending thing. So when I was younger, I'll, I'll be the guy that will just dabble in Adobe software, trying HTML and CSS and stuff. But I never really got far in coding when I was still younger because it was just when you're learning on your own, it's one of the hardest things to do. So I got into computer science, then from there picked up like UI UX design because I was trying to like find something to merge all of my interests together. And UI UX seemed like the common ground, well, back then. And then while in school, I was also a graphic designer at a point. It's a whole jumbled thing. So I don't have like a lot of people have like a linear career. Mine is more like, so there's no straight path. Every time I tell my story, there'll be a different angle.
Version. Yeah.
There'll be a different version. But the long and short of it is I started designing in school, left school, was in a startup. Then from there, COVID happened. I was just at home. I was one of the people that was laid off, but not during COVID. I was laid off just before COVID. So it was no relation at all. But yeah, it was during that period I was doing product design or UI UX, and I just found it boring because I was just it's the same. It felt like basically the same thing, but everybody just wants the same thing. That's what I felt like then. But what I discovered after, in hindsight, was that I just was not. challenged enough, like creatively. So during that period, I started like doing posters and stuff. That's where like I started like getting good at that stuff. But I also was freelancing because I was like unemployed. So somewhere the timeline is a little bit off, but I was freelancing in school. Then I got a job. Then when I left the job, freelancing was just like the next best thing to do. And I just continued that way. So long and short of it, I eventually got into Webflow, decided to niche into web design, and that's where I'm at right now. I don't know what's I don't know what good way to explain my journey because it's just a whole jumbled mess. The gist is that I'm just here. What's the second question?
You're just here. Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense when you say, you dabbled into a lot of things: computer science,
Yeah.
design, UI,
Hmm.
UX, and eventually, you realize that you could just freelance, make some money from it. You did it while in school, and
Yeah.
you mentioned that you joined a startup. You got laid off a little bit before COVID. I think they saw the future. They saw it's coming. That they were going to have issues.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the funniest thing because people are getting laid off. Like COVID ushered like a wave of layoffs and people just being at home and stuff. But I was at home already and I'm
Yeah,
an introvert, so I was just like, okay, cool.
comfortable
Like
where you are. Yeah,
welcome to the status quo.
yeah. Um, I was going to ask a question, but I completely forgot what I was going to ask. Maybe it's come back to me, but I'm just going to go back to like the questions I have in my notes while I'm thinking about that. When you started freelancing, obviously you joined a startup, you got a job, you started,
So
what?
I've had jobs in between, by the way. But
Yeah.
it wasn't just like I don't have any work experience and I just freelanced. It's just I freelanced for most of my career,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had like full-time jobs in between,
Jobs in between.
contract
Yeah.
jobs in between, stuff like that.
Interesting. So, getting those jobs in between, was there anything that made you decide to go back into freelancing fully, or it was just condition that hit you again?
So it's two things. The first thing was that I kind of now have I've noticed in myself that I need to do different things. And it's kind of hard to do that if you're like a full-time employee. Unless you're working at an agency or one of those companies that you can move around in different departments in the company. So if I join a full-time company, I would need to do something on the side, or I would not be able to keep be at the top of my game because eventually to get stale, to get boring. I want to be professional at what I'm doing. So it doesn't make sense to join a company and not deliver. The second thing is when you join enough companies, um, after a while, you also have like some bad experiences, and you're like, I want more control over my. I don't want to commit to one company and then they derogatory word me over or they screw me over. Or something. So I know that's not a healthy way to look at things sometimes, but over time, I've seen that I'd much rather join a company that I genuinely want to work with and I love what they're doing, or just freelance, do the work I need to do, and leave to the next thing. Because I've seen it time and time again. People commit their lives, their energy, their time, their effort to a company, and then at the end of the day, you're just a number on the spreadsheet. So when when you no longer serve the company's needs. And it's not, I'm not even like bitter about it. It's just the cold hard truth. Like it's a
Hundred
it's
percent true.
it's a it's
Hundred
a it's
percent.
a give and take. It's a give and take thing. So the same way you when the company is no longer servicing you, you leave. It's the same way when you're no longer servicing them, they put you. So I just noticed that thing where I I don't want to be in that position again. So
Mm.
I stick to freelance. I'm still open to full-time jobs, but like the criteria for me to leave everything I'm doing and focus on one company is very, very high for me. Like it's very high.
That that makes sense, and I can 100% relate to that because to be honest, um, all the all the companies I've also worked with, right? I've always had to do different things as well. If I'm not doing well, I got hired as a UI UX designer, but I was doing UI UX front end and brand design and then mobile design in one company. I joined another company as a brand strategist in quotes. I was doing websites for them. I think it's only my previous role that I can say I was doing, more of a single thing, but I wasn't really because when I joined as front end engineer, but at the same time, I started chucking my head into everything. I'm this guy that I just can't mind my own business. I'm poking my head into all the different teams, figuring out what's going on. And they say,
That's probably why you're in the company for that long. Because you knew
yeah,
everything.
yeah, I knew everything that was going on, and they say it's a good trait for leaders. I don't know how true that is, but maybe it is because you're thinking of the whole company as a whole, and you're trying to dip your hands into every little thing. The second thing you said about you just being a number in a company, 100% true. Um, and this goes to every listener as well. You know, the company, if you're working for a company, 100% it's beneficial. You would get a lot of benefits, but make no mistake, like always have
The
it at the
moment
back
they
of your
don't need
mind.
you, you're not a
They,
family, these are
you're
not your
not.
friends. It's
No,
not. You are
no.
cordial, but they're not your, they're not your friends.
Yeah, exactly. You're cordial. It's not a family. If you stay there long enough, you can make friends for sure. But if they need to cut you, they would cut you. And yeah, that's just cold hard truth. So it's always nice to have something to fall back on, like your own freelance business where you don't really have to worry about getting fired. Your work is solely based on your own merits and your clientele. But then it's a lot of hard work, and that's why we're having this conversation. And some people have been successful at it, here on the call with us, Mr. Mr. Daniel. I don't think
You
I've
say
ever
that I'm not,
called you
I'm
Mr.
not,
Daniel in my life.
please don't do
It's,
that again.
it seems I like it actually. I've called you
Mm,
Mr. Daniel 5 times now. I think it's going to catch on. Mr. Daniel, Mr. Daniel,
probably,
Mr.
probably not.
Yeah, probably not. On to my next big question. Um, when What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced working freelance? I know we just talked about the benefits of freelance compared to having a full-time job, but what are some of those challenges that you faced? Maybe you faced some challenges, you walk through them, but in that moment you're like, nah, why do I have to deal with all this when I can just get a freelance job? What were those things for you?
There are many. There are many. Number one, inconsistency of income. It's like the
Okay.
biggest, that's like the biggest one. There are ways around it. but for the most part, it's not steady income. So your money management needs to be on point, or you'll always be broke. That's one. So there are just some benefits that come with being like a full-time job, especially if you're working for a good company. The benefits are plenty. You're not paying for your health insurance yourself, anything insurance. Um, you're not bothered about like certain types of logistics, depending on which company you work for. There are different types of allowances, stuff like that. Income is not steady. Um, there are certain benefits to working in a company, stuff like health insurance, um, allowances, all sorts of allowances. There's so many things that people take for granted as a full-time employee. The third thing is that unless you're working in sales or something, you don't need to care about where your business gets clients from and revenue from. You should, but you don't need to, almost for the most part, because if you're a dev, you just have your KPIs, your Jira board and whatever is in your company. You do that, you're good. If you're a product designer, you yes, you go out and do like interviews and stuff like that, but like you're not bothered about. You should be, but you don't need to be bothered about like who is paying for the service that your company is offering.
Yeah.
But if you're a freelancer, you actually have to position yourself. You have to, in some cases, reach out to people. If you don't do anything, you will not get money. Like if you don't do anything to look for work, you will not get work. So as a freelancer, you're just like you have freedom, but the freedom comes at a cost, basically.
Yeah, you have to be 100% responsible, and
And then
it teaches you how to grow as a person too, because your
yeah,
survival
by
is
force,
based on it by force, by force, by
by
fire.
force. And then
Yeah,
there's another one, which is if you're like ADHD, scattered brain type of stuff, where you need like hard deadlines to get anything done, you are going to struggle because there's no HR, there is no team manager, there's no team lead, there's nothing. You have to be self-driven or find ways to keep yourself accountable. If you can't do that, then you're going to struggle because I wake up, I have total control of my time. I decide when I have meetings, if I have meetings, I can work early in the morning or late at night. Like that's freedom, but you need to have like you need to have your own sense of standards to meet. Like no one can do that for you. The worst that will happen is that you like disappoint the client, which is a bad thing. But like it's not you're not getting queried, you're not um you
yeah,
yeah, there's so many issues. Okay, you disappoint a client, the client gives you bad recommendations and blah 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 blah. But you still need to have that sense of integrity standards and need to deliver to this. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle.
yeah. And another difficult thing to talk about that just popped into my head is sometimes it might get to a point where if you're not careful, you might start to develop apathy for missing deadlines and disappointing clients, which
Which is
is
very
yeah, a mental space you don't want to get to, especially when you overcommit to projects. And then while you're implementing all these plenty projects, your time management sucks, and you tend to, you start missing deadlines, clients start calling you, you start managing the whole politics of it all. And if you don't like politics, you might rebel against yourself and start to
mm,
develop apathy. You'll be like, oh, it's a very dark hole to crawl into, especially when you burn yourself out without even knowing it if you're not careful.
Yeah,
It's
burnout is a thing. It's bad. And it's not even like you're trying to be a horrible person or not dependable, but you just reach a point where you're like, you will not die, this thing does not get delivered. You just fire the client or it's you I work as hard to not get to that point, but it's a real danger. Like with
100%.
full time work, you can go on leave, you can take leave, right? As a freelancer, it's much harder to have that structure of my work is 9 to 5. You can do it, but it's much harder. 9 to 5, I don't work weekends. I don't. It's not. It's like when COVID happened and people started doing remote work, and then all of a sudden your work started bleeding into the nights because there are no boundaries. So if you work like that 24/7, 365 days a week, one day you just stop caring about the work, and then
Yeah.
that's when you might not do well. So
Yeah, it's a real danger, and people don't talk about it enough. A lot of people talk about the glamorous side of freelancing. Oh, you get clients, but the real danger is overcommitting to so much work. You know,
yeah,
over promising, over committing, and then maybe you have one or two bad days, and your entire workload falls apart. And
I
uh,
don't even do that. I don't do that. So my way around that is I watch myself. So I've watched myself over time, and I have a rough gauge on how long it takes for me to get certain jobs done. So when I have, let's say in my head, it takes me like 2 weeks to do something, I'll just tell the client 1 month. So I have padded the time in case anything happens or in case I underestimated how much work it was, which can happen, or maybe the client is not upfront about how much work it actually is, and you just gauge based on what they told you. So, if only. So I do that a lot. Sometimes very easy. Like you just start a task, watch how much time you take to do it, then just do the average of multiple tasks like that. And you're like, okay, if I need to do one landing page, it can take like 4 hours to do. So I'll just say it takes me 2 days just to be safe. That's one thing I do. The
100%.
second thing I do is I've noticed that I can only handle like 3 projects at a time. Like three is my number. And that includes like personal stuff. So if I have like a personal project I'm doing, then I can only handle like two, like proper projects at a time. So my number is three. And that is like to have like a balanced life. Like I'll still go to the gym. I'll still maybe not work weekends unless I have to. My number is three. So for me, doing 5 projects at a time will just be greed. And I will mess up because I will not be able to keep up with the work at a certain level. So for me, I don't commit to more than I need to commit to, and that saves me a lot from stuff like that. I've noticed that a lot of people, especially freelancers, we like to get a lot of work, and the only way that works is if, for instance, if I have like 4 or 5 projects, then it has to be low effort stuff where maybe one person is not maybe like one is like 5 hours a week and the other one is like 5 hours a week. So maybe, but if it's like proper work where I have to be committed to stuff like that, my number is three. Anything that comes when I'm committed to like three stuff, I just give to someone else. And I always state I cannot commit to this thing at this time. If you really want me to work on it, you have to wait until a certain point in time. And with the deadline stuff, I always set expectations very early. I'm like, this thing will take me 1 month to do. Told you. It is probably in writing or we said it in a call or something. If you now tell me it needs to be done in 2 weeks, I will tell you that that is out of what I think I can do, but I will try. That way, if the 2 weeks does not happen, I told you. So it's just one very difficult lesson I've had to learn is I'm still working on it, but communicate. Like you just have to see. It's better I tell you, at the beginning. This thing is not feasible. Though. Where can we meet in the middle? If you now enforce what I said should will not work, and it now does not work, I'm not liable. I will try, but I'm not liable. And also, if anything happens in the middle, like let's say I said to take me 1 month to do, and by week two, I'm already foreseeing that that 1 month is not going to happen. I'll just start letting you know that, it's looking like this thing will not work. Oh. So that by the end of the month, you're not looking like, where's my deliverables? You already know what's going to happen beforehand and will know how to course correct before then. Sometimes we're just too eager to take work that we don't calm down and like set expectations.
Yeah.
And a lot of bad clients, or bad freelancer experiences is not bad people, it's just bad communication. So you promise the world because you think you can deliver the world, but you're not being realistic. Or the client wants a lot of things and you just want to eat. So you just take the job and you don't think about, oh, I can't actually do this.
Yeah.
That's
Like
how that's how I manage stuff.
let me just collect my initial 60%,
Yeah,
and then you end up ruining your reputation and your integrity in the process.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a very important topic, and I wholeheartedly 100% agree to everything you just said, and especially how you just explained it. I was meeting up with one of my former colleagues earlier today. We had lunch and we're just reminiscing about the old days. I was talking about when I was freelancing a lot. So we used to work at the company together. I I had just I'd been running my design agency for about 2 years then, so I had a lot of clients. So at this point, I was running like 5 clients at the same time. I know, rookie mistake. And then my main job wanted to do
yeah,
this very large projects, and that would require me to do a lot of things, and the timeline was like 1 month. Mind you, this same project was outsourced, and the company they outsourced it to took 6 months to build, but they built rubbish. So they eventually decided that they will come and build it in house. But then the in house people, they gave us 1 month to build. I was the only front end engineer on the team. I was the one that was going to design the UI and the product as well. So they wanted to kill me essentially. So I was thinking about the work I had to do at work and my client's work. I had already taken up more than I could chew, right? Clients were calling me. It got to a point like they'll call me at 9 p.m. Like after work, I'm tired. I don't want to be thinking about other things. Like let me just start coding or start designing and go to sleep. But while I'm coding, I'm designing, I'm getting phone calls and they're telling me, yo, we need to add this thing to the project. Or I'm getting reviews back. Or, oh, sorry, I should have told you this. We need to add this. We need to remove this. You need to make it pop.
yeah,
You know, it got to a point I had my first panic attack at work. People thought I was joking because I joke a lot at work. I had an actual panic attack. I didn't know what was happening because I was like, okay, so many people were calling me. I had little to no time to do all the work I needed to do, and I had 5 other projects aside from my actual, office 9 to 5 job. I had a panic attack. And I think that was a wake up call for me that I needed to, fix up how much work that I was taking in. So what I decided to do, the clients that were not beneficial to me, because sometimes we do actually have troublemaker clients. The clients that
Mm-hmm.
the project will start, but the project will never finish because they would never give you the final green lights. I
Yeah.
fired like two clients. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't work with you anymore. I can recommend you to somebody else that would need your services. I fired two clients that day. I wrapped up the other two projects I was working on, and then lucky enough for me, the projects we were doing at work, somebody else delayed it. So
Okay.
I did not have to be liable for that. So since then, I just was just like a wake up call because I had already started to ignore calls. Like when the client's call comes, and I'm just like, oh, what does this guy want again? I had already gotten to that point of apathy. Like, if I miss this deadline, I miss this deadline. And as a professional freelancer, you don't ever want to get to that point, and that was the point I got to. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's very important to talk about it so other people avoid it because a lot of young freelancers that are just starting out, they want to take on as much work as possible. The money is exciting, but they don't
Yeah.
know how to ration. They don't know how to ration the work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think let's go to the next question I have, Mr. Daniel.
It's not going to catch on. It's not.
It's going to catch on like mad. Okay. Let's talk about your personal brand. Is it important to have a personal brand? If yes, what are some of the things you do to build up yours? I noticed you've been posting a lot on LinkedIn lately, which I asked you about, but
Yeah.
you can tell us more.
Okay, so I don't know if it's because I've been in the design space, so I've been online, but I think the term personal brand has been flogged to death so much that it's currently kind of cringe to hear, oh, build your personal brand. Or not even cringe necessarily, but like when you say a word several times, I lose its meaning. Like if I say word, eventually word does not make any sense in my head. I feel like
Yeah,
that's what personal brand has turned
100%.
to. Because everybody's saying build a personal brand, do this, do this, do this. And it's just like I don't I get it, but your brand is basically how you're perceived. So when you say build your personal brand, what exactly am I building? But yeah, so it's a personal brand is important, but I would not overthink it. I'll just dumb it down to be visible. Like if someone wants to look for you, they shouldn't have to look for you. You should be easily found. Um, and you can build up from there. So if it is making sure that you are on LinkedIn, you have a LinkedIn profile. I don't want to say I'll never call it an ex. I have a I have a bad relationship with whatever Twitter has turned into right now. Um,
Twitter. Just say Twitter.
yeah, but if that's where you can be seen, then by all means be seen. If you have a portfolio, personal website, you need to just be visible. That's just the landscape that we're in. So it's good to have a personal brand because people want to know the person to an extent that this is an individual that I'm talking to. Especially now that AI is a thing. Um, we're just people need more human presence. Is presences presence
Yeah.
presence English is hard. So
Yeah.
I think it's important, but I would not stress it so much. Just be visible, dumb it down to be invisible, and then over time you can work on what needs to be worked on. If you need to change your tone, if you need to change your presentation, if you need to, those things can be worked on over time. Just be visible.
Yeah. I build your personal brand. Build your personal brand. You have to sound this way. You have to post 10 times in a day. I'm
It's
tired.
it's
I'm
it's
tired.
annoying, honestly.
I'm
And half of the
tired.
time, people that are saying build a personal brand, they're trying to sell you something.
They are trying to sell
If,
you a course or an ebook.
ebook course. It's
Yeah,
and you some of them are worth the money, but most of them are not.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. I would like to write a book someday. Maybe that one would be worth the money. But the other flip side of it is I find a lot of things cringy. So I don't know how I'm going to cross that. Oh, I need to do content and I need to do it in this particular way and I need to be posting, be in people's faces. I don't know. I'll figure it out someday. Maybe not. But the whole
It's
personal
just to
brand thing.
close. It's just to close eye and do it. Because another thing
Yeah.
I've learned is that people don't care like that. People care, but people don't care like that. That's one thing
Yeah.
I've learned. It's like, for instance, I'm doing a LinkedIn experiment where I'm posting every day for as long as I can. And some posts just nobody cares. Some other posts people engaging.
Hmm.
So I think removing that idea that people are watching you, that this is cringe, this is all those things, and just do it. Because even if it is cringe, the person that said it is cringe will 30 minutes, 30 seconds after would have seen another post and
Yeah.
just continue what they were doing.
Yeah. They would
Yeah.
have forgotten. That's a very valid point. So my key takeaway from this is just be visible. And if you need to do anything else specific in the future, you would be visible enough to know what that is or what that needs to be. That's cool.
More or less.
Yeah. So on to my next question. So this is a question from one of our listeners on Twitter, and very interesting name actually. This is from Ruthless Designer. Hi, Ruthless
Good
Designer.
one. Good
Yeah,
one.
Ruthless. In his words, he asks, how do you create an sorry, yeah, my head just went off. How do you create a consistent inflow of clientele? That's his question. Mr. Dan,
Okay.
please, the floor is yours.
That's something I'm still working on. But if anybody tells you that they know how to get a consistent flow of clients, they're probably lying to you because even agencies have to go out and convince people to work with them. So just because you're working in a company and there's like a consistent inflow of or an agency and just there's a constant inflow of clients does not mean that they have hacked it. So basically, what people do is different things. One, you like we said with the visible thing, just be visible so that people reach out to you. But also a lot of luck is involved. So you need to do things to increase your luck. So if there is a job board, you can all those Upwork type stuff. If that will help, join it. If there is any community for your career, join those. Um, be visible on LinkedIn, all that stuff. So if there's any way you can do, like, designers have a lot. There's Dribble, there is Behance, there is have something in as many places as possible because you never know where you would have a client come from. So that's one. The second thing is try and set up retainers. So basically, you are providing value over a long period of time. So it's the next best thing. It's kind of like the in between of getting some of the benefits of being a full time staff while being a freelancer. So you just commit a certain amount of time every week or every month to this particular client, to one client or two, and that can be like the bulk of your income. So even when you have dry periods, you still have something coming in. It's hard to do, but if you can set up your service in such a way that when someone comes to you, you're not just doing one off, you can do a one off project and then maybe to maintain the project you did for them, they just pay you a token every month. That can help a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and that in itself can act as a salary because
Yeah, exactly.
you're going to be getting that monthly. That that makes a lot of sense. Just be as visible as possible. I agree with what you say about it has to do with luck. There's a lot of luck involved. You will just need to be visible enough to increase the level of luck that you get. Right. Depending on
Yeah,
how visible you are, people are seeing you, people are remembering you, um, you are at the forefront of people's minds. So when somebody is asking, yo, I need to do this particular thing. Let's say you do branding. Oh, I need to brand my new startup. Do you know anyone? Yeah, just like, oh, I saw this guy. This guy has been in my face the whole time. Let me recommend
yeah.
this guy.
That was
And
basically what worked for me
yeah,
because they are like agencies and people that I have been like, I want to work with these people. And for like 1 year, 2 years, we were in the same orbit, but never actually did any work. But when work came in, the next thing was like, oh, Daniel can do it.
yeah,
But if I was not
in the
shouting that,
office.
oh, I do this, or I do this, or online, you're seeing my stuff over time, then it's like being, oh, I know someone that does this, but I can't really remember. Or if I've not posted about it in like 1 year or 2 years, it'll be like, oh, I don't know if Daniel even still does that. Maybe he's busy or that sort of thing. Like, never underestimate the power of just talking online.
Yeah,
Like, it's insane.
yeah, yeah. I should take that advice myself. The retainer part, definitely. I think that's one of the strongest ways that even agencies make their money. That's how
Yeah,
most of them pay their salaries because they have all these big projects that they've done and they have to maintain, and
yeah,
they get they get paid a retainer every month for that. So it's good to always have that conversation from the beginning. If you are building a website, the website will need to be maintained. It will need frequent upgrades.
yeah,
Depending on the stack you use to build it, there's always going to be upgrades, content updates. If that's one of the services you provide, you could
yeah,
provide that as well. They might use it, they might not use it, but regardless, at the end of the month, they are paying you some
yeah,
amount of money. That
yeah.
makes sense.
Another thing is try and make friends with agencies. So the I don't call it a hack, but like agencies to survive, they need to go out and get work. So if you as a freelancer, you're not that good at getting work, but you're very good at your skill, you can position yourself with agencies or people that are just good at getting work. And you now become their go-to person for a certain skill. So that way some of your sourcing for work is offloaded onto them. And then in exchange, they give you frequent work.
That's solid advice, actually. That's solid advice. Okay. Ruthless designer, I hope we've been able to answer your question. Ruthless
Hopefully,
designer. Hopefully. I think we have. Um, Back to my own question. You've sort of answered this already. What are some of the strategies you use for networking and leveraging social media? I think you've answered this one already. Experimenting on LinkedIn, making yourself
yeah.
visible, network strategies for networking, making friends with agencies, joining communities. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, basically, I'm very, very bad at, okay, let me not say very bad, but my natural state is to just be on my own. So, and they can be problematic if you're a freelancer. So the if you're an introvert, just remember that you're not actually talking to people, you're talking online. Like you don't need to physically be in spaces. Ideally, you should be going out talking to people, going to events and stuff. But if that's very difficult for you to do, being online is just the best thing because there are people that you never would have met physically that you're interacting to. Like, for instance, one time I was on a call with someone that's from Peru, and I'm like, there's no way the two of us would have like entered each other's radar. So, if not for being online and social media. So, if you are the kind of person who struggles with networking, if you're the kind of person who is finding it very difficult to go out and meet people, if you set up your social media presence well enough, in some cases, people will come to you. Don't wait for that. But it's also something that happens when you are just very online, um, posting your work, and then you get good at it. People will be like, oh, this guy is like someone I want to associate with. And that's also another way that people start associating with you. Because sometimes when you're networking, it can be like salesy, like people
Yeah.
know they can smell it, they can smell it. That's one of the reasons why I'm wary of events where I know too many people or people too many people know me. Because it now turns into this, oh, I want to network with you. Like sometimes everything is not about work. Like the people that we work with eventually, sometimes we're just guys, we just chill. But if everything
Yeah.
is about I want to network with you, it turns into this weird
Yeah.
thing. It turns out to people off.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to get to the point where someone will naturally be on the same level with you or vibe with you for some other reason, like be an interesting person, basically. And then over time, you get more comfortable with people, and then that's what they're like, oh, I know this guy can help me with this stuff, and then that's what this things.
Okay. That's again solid advice, Mr. Daniel. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
All
You know,
right.
it's this thing go, are you?
Okay. That's dope, man. That's dope. The whole networking thing, turning people off. I 100% agree. Um, I'm the kind of person that I like to find middle ground in other aspects of life, like shared hobbies,
Yeah.
shared interests.
Let it
Like
be
I'm not,
organic.
yeah, organic. I'm not even thinking about networking at networking events unless they specifically say, yeah, this event you must. Have you ever been to all this speed networking events? I went to one last year. It
I
was
hate those things.
it was
I hate those
very
things.
it was very interesting. So
Yes,
I
it's interesting, but I hate it I hate it
yeah,
nonetheless.
yeah. No, no, no. Wait, chill, chill. So we we go into a room. There's like small tables everywhere, and there's a timer for like I think is it 5 minutes. So you go to a table, you hit the timer. There's 5 minutes. You talk for 5 minutes. Once the stopwatch is done, you go. You find another table to
Yeah.
join. You hit the timer. You talk. I do not remember anybody that I met. I only remember people I know. As people I already knew, I remember, obviously. But after that day, I don't I don't remember. Some people reached out, we talked, but conversation died. But it's just yeah, I'm sure it works for
It's
some
not
people, but it just didn't work for me. I'm a very sometimes I can be a very out of sight, out of mind kind of person. And if I don't really take the time to get to know you, you're just not there
yeah,
in my mind. And
I
if
can
we
relate.
meet if we meet at another event, you're like, yo, what lady are you doing? And I'm like, I'm good. And I don't remember where we met. Then you start explaining. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. So it's always awkward when I meet people that I've met at different events. Maybe I met them for like 30 seconds and they meet me somewhere else, and then I have to remember. So it's usually nice when I have like a lengthy, 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes conversation about something random. Then I
Yeah,
remember, like, it's more memorable for me, compared
yeah,
to just talking about, oh, this is what I'm building. I get
hmm,
that a lot. I'm building this, I'm building that. So do you have 1 minute of can I get 1 minute of your time? Let's oh, I just became a UX engineer, this, that. Okay. Funny enough, if I get job opportunities, maybe someone says, oh, I'm looking to hire a product designer, or I'm looking to hire somebody. I get those I get jobs frequently. The people I'm thinking of are people I'm cordial with, like my friends, my acquaintances. So people that randomly reach out to me like, oh, if you see any product design role, please recommend me. I don't remember in that moment. The people I'm remembering
also,
are like the people I'm cordial with, the people I talk to
yeah,
often. Just like you just said, you make friends with them, talk about something random. Then when something comes up, they remember you. And that's why I was saying it's really solid advice, and I called you Mr. Daniel again. Hats off to you.
but yeah, in all seriousness, I also have a problem with, or an issue, a challenge with people I don't really know asking me to recommend them for stuff, because recommend is a very strong word.
Yeah,
Like it can damage your reputation with certain people if I recommend you for something. The truth is, if I don't know you and I recommend you for something, there always be that caveat of, I don't really know this person, but they seem good at
yeah,
what they do.
yeah.
And it's no hard feelings, but there are very few people I can vouch for personally that this person knows what they are doing. So for me to get to that point with you, I would have to have worked with you before. I had to seeing you do work for me to recommend you.
You've seen
So
their
it's
growth over time as
yeah,
well. Yeah, and their work
yeah, yeah,
ethic, the way they speak, the way they carry themselves, their integrity, all these things make
yeah.
it just makes you feel safer to recommend people. But
And
yeah,
5 minutes is not enough for that.
it's really not. But anyway, next question on my list. Do you use any freelance platforms? If yes, which ones have you found the most success with?
Okay, I personally don't use any. Don't recommend that. But I just never really got into all of these. There are lots of them, like Upwork, for instance. I know lots of people use Upwork and people are making a lot of money from Upwork. But when I understood how Upwork works, I just could not do it. There was this thing where we are all competing. I don't like a situation where I'm competing for the client's attention, where it's like they are shopping. They are they it basically either boils down to who is the cheapest from what I have seen, or who can really stand out the most. When it comes to that, it's just, and Upwork has reached this point where it's kind of like a saturation point where there are so many people there that it's like you're just racing to the bottom. That's my personal reason, but that's my bias. It's my bias. I would never suggest that people don't work or any of those freelance platforms. Like I said, increase your luck. I increase my luck in other ways. Or might be increasing your own luck. What I
Yeah,
do, it what I do is, when you mention it now, I think I did join a few, but it's basically the type where I just have to set up a profile, and if anyone is looking for people, they can come and meet me there. But if it's like all of those, I have to like pitch, I have to compete for for a client, then because I have other things I need to do. And if I have to trip over my toes just to get you to work with me, then maybe we shouldn't be working together. But again, maybe I'll change my stance 1 or 2 years from now. I am on contract. I'm on contract. I'm on Webflow experts. That's what I can remember right now. If those count as freelancer platforms, then yes, I'm on freelancer platforms. But it's mostly just if someone searches and they find me there, then good. That's why I'm on those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny story about Upwork. 2016, I joined Upwork, and I was just testing it out. Someone told me about it. Oh, you can get clients. I was like, okay, let me try. And I joined. I sent a couple of proposals. Proposals got rejected. I was like, okay, is it because I added my portfolio there, my pricing, everything. I charged pretty high at that point. I sent proposals, like none of my proposals went through. And then I got an email and they said, Since nobody is accepting your proposal, we don't think you align with what people are looking for in this community." And I got blocked. Yeah,
Wow.
I
Didn't even
got
get to
blocked.
that
This
point.
this was 20. I don't know if they still do that. Maybe they've changed their policies, but the policy back then in 2016, I had no idea. I sent a couple of proposals, probably like 5 or 6 proposals. I just got blocked. And they said I
They
can,
probably they
yeah, they
changed
said I
it.
can,
They
yeah, they said I can appeal and get the accounts back. I was just like, nah, let let me get my clients the old
the
fashioned way.
thing about Upwork now is that I don't think they can do that because it's part of how they make money. So from an
Mm,
outsider's perspective, I have seen that you have a certain amount of, they call it connects. You need those connects to send proposals. So if you want more connects, you either, I don't know if you wait a certain period for it to renew, or
oh,
you pay
they didn't
money.
have
You
all
pay
that.
money. Yeah. So
Oh, you
now you
pay
can
real
pay
money now.
money. Yeah, you can pay money. That's not understandable. You can pay money for more connects. So it will be counterintuitive for them to block you for sending plenty proposals because they will make more money for you sending plenty proposals. And that's just one. I've heard a lot of weird pricing things they do, but that's what happens when you need to become profitable. So
Interesting. Well, to be fair, this was 2016. It's almost 10 years now. So
yeah,
yeah, I just remember I do Upwork. Very had a very interesting experience with them. Anyway, let's do the rapid fire questions and then we close up.
thanks.
Rapid fire questions. Rapid fire questions.
You
So,
should
Mr.
do. Do you
Daniel,
listen to Waveform podcast?
sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes
So
I
they
do.
have this thing. They have this thing where they have like a soundtrack for different sections. You should probably do
Uh,
that.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
explore that one of these days. So, Mr. Daniel, are you a light mode or a dark mode person?
Dark mode.
Okay. Marvel or DC?
Both.
You have to pick one.
I don't like this thing. I don't. I
You have
don't.
to pick one.
I
Pick
don't.
one. Pick one. They will not kill you. They will not shoot you. Pick one.
My favorite characters are in Marvel. That's just the truth.
Okay.
Marvel, not MCU, because that's a
I
different topic.
I know. Well,
Marvel.
well,
Yeah.
well. Most people don't know that, but yeah,
Yeah.
most
Marvel.
people don't know that. I saw someone referring to a video game, the Spider-Man game as MCU. I was like, well, what are you talking
Well,
about?
the MCU wishes it was that right now.
Yeah, wishes.
Yeah.
So, are you a tea or a coffee person?
Neither. I don't drink either.
So what do you drink?
Yeah,
Water. Water.
just I'd rather
Yogurts.
just drink the milk or water or yogurt or something like coffee. I've never drank coffee, and coffee gave me that thing that it does for people. So basically I figured that over time that was probably because of my size that I need like a stronger dose of coffee. And the idea of having to take that much coffee just to do that, I'd rather just sip
Yeah.
and do what
Rather
I need to do the
just.
next day. It doesn't sound healthy to me to have to take that much coffee. If I can't take this amount of coffee that everyone takes and get the same effects, then I don't want to do it. So, and tea is just tea. Like there's nothing spectacular about tea. Like yeah, once in a while, but like I'm not. I won't. I don't remember last time I drank tea. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I mean, the way you're talking about coffee, I was just like, man, I am so guilty. Like, I'm, I'm, I'm drinking coffee right now.
I get the need for coffee, but like I have lived my life up to this point, adjusted for not coffee. I don't want
Yeah, yeah.
to
There's no point if you've survived this long. There's no point. Don't do it. Yeah.
yeah,
People like tea. It's an acquired taste. I don't. I'm not a huge fan. Anyway,
me neither.
are you a dog or a cat person, or you don't like pets
Dogs,
at all? Dogs.
dogs, cats are pretentious. I don't like them. I can manage them, but I don't like. I prefer dogs. Dogs are
Okay.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Okay. Let me ask my last and final question. Did you ever go through self doubt or imposter syndrome? How did you overcome these feelings? Did you overcome these feelings?
I went through self doubt like 2 hours ago. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm sorry if you're listening to this segment thinking that there's a magic pill for your self doubt. I'm sorry, I don't have it. But I have learned that with so I have imposter syndrome for certain things, for other things I don't have as it depends. And I've learned over time that confidence and repetition brings confidence. So if there's something that's giving you imposter syndrome, chances are you have not repeated it enough to gain confidence in it. Chances are. But again, there's a flip side of it where if you're not doing work that makes you have imposter syndrome, then maybe you're not punching above your weight and then maybe you're not growing. So it's like this vicious cycle. But basically, the only way out of it is to do it. So, for instance, if you're a web designer, the only way to, or a web developer, for instance, the only way to get to reduce your imposter syndrome is to just have a lot of projects under your belt. So even when you reach a project you've never done before, at a scope you've never done before, you can look back and be like, well, I did this once. I didn't know how I was going to do them, but I did them. So that helps me in some stuff because it's like, oh, I've done these amounts of projects, and in each of the projects I've done, there was something I did not know how to do, and I figured it out. So that gives you confidence for the next thing, right? And if it's imposter syndrome for a job, or imposter syndrome for a gig, or imposter syndrome, sometimes you get to remind yourself that first of all, if you were not desirable to work with, you won't be in the room in the first place because you were chosen out of a bunch of people. So that alone is enough proof that you should be there. So it's now up to you to do the rest, basically. And lastly, sometimes you're supposed to have imposter syndrome because sometimes some people enter rooms that they have no business being inside. In that case, your imposter syndrome is very valid because you know Sabi they work. So you got Sabi. Yeah. There's no doubt. So sometimes the imposter syndrome
Yeah.
is actually your inner self telling you that you know Sabi. But there's no way to tell the difference. So you just have to just keep doing. You just have to keep doing work and keep showing up. And eventually you'll notice that there are certain projects that come on your lap, you don't even think about it. For instance, I'm sure if someone comes to you with a landing page, you don't even think twice that it's a landing page. I've been a CTO of a company before, like landing page, I can do that in my sleep. So it's like that. The more you do
Hmm.
certain stuff, the less scared you feel about it because you've done it before. So the only way, you just have to go through. You just have to pass through it. That's the only way. You're muted. You're muted.
Okay, okay, okay. I said 100%, 100%. Yes, yes, yes. I totally agree. That's what I said. So the only way out is through self doubt, imposter syndrome. Yeah, I myself felt it today as well. I feel it every day. But like you said, as long as you keep showing up, it gets better and then it gets worse and then it gets better and then it gets worse. It's like a roller coaster.
I think you just have to
Anyway,
accept that it's just part of it.
yeah, you gotta accept it. So, Mr. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of what's the name of this episode again? The Freelance Mindsets. So, if people want to reach out to you, where can they reach out to you?
Just search for me on LinkedIn. To be honest, if you send me a DM on Twitter, you tweet that to me, I might not see it because the app is not even on my phone. So but I'm on LinkedIn now. So just that's the pretty much. If you don't have my number, then it has to be LinkedIn at this point.
Okay. What's your LinkedIn name? Is it just Daniel Abudu?
You'll know when you see. Just search Daniel Abudu. You'll see me.
Okay. Okay.
That's
You
that
can't miss
sounded
it.
that's
There's
that
only one.
sounded more
There's only
more
one.
egotistical than intended, but that was it came out wrong. But basically, you will know it is me when you see it because it's just there. Like just search Daniel Abudu, you see.
Yeah, yeah, like it's just you cannot miss it, guys. You cannot miss it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for joining this episode. Do you have any shameless plugs that you would like to plug? Your freelance business, a product you're working on, projects you're working on that you like people to know about.
Just here for your workflow related work. If you need a web design or a workflow,
Workflow.
sites built in workflow, I can do it for you. And if I can't, or if I'm busy, I can always recommend someone to help you with that. So, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So we're going to do another episode together about understanding the use of no code tools. So that would be coming up next week. Let me plug in my own shameless plug. Plug in my own shameless plug. Well, it works. This podcast is powered by Dula Studio. Dula is a strategic partner for rapid growing companies in need of product and engineering guidance and scalable design systems. Check us out at www.dula.studio. Also, engage with us on social media to share your feedback and tell us who you'd like to hear from in the future. Our handle is at Pulse of Tech Pod on all platforms. If you want to hit me up personally, you can hit me up at Lady Adeni on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for listening. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. I said it again. Stay tuned and peace.
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Dun 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 dun. What's up?
Hi.
Hi. I'm excited. What is that
Does that
look on
actually
your face? I don't
does
know
that
if you
actually work?
I don't know if it works or not, but I'm telling myself I am not tired. I have not had a long day at work. I am full of energy. Full of energy. Full of energy. All right, let's go.